satellites? A satellite represents a journey, information gathering, this journey around the Earth.
Welcome to Satellite Haiku. I'm MiLo.
Well, I'm Sean. Welcome.
What were we just talking about?
I was saying my family's away and I have endless time on my hands, and it's weird. I've said before that my wife asked me, in the past, if they were all gone, like indefinitely, like how long would it take for me before I start calling people to hang out?
Yeah.
And I said, like maybe 3 or 4 months. I take it back. It's super weird to be alone at home.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I miss them a lot. And, and I don't, like, I have friends here, not that many. And then the ones that I could call, they're like away. And so I've been completely alone. It's just very weird.
So I didn't specifically, not for I had like 4 or 5 reasons, but I didn't book a trip to come collaborate on a script because I felt like I had just done that in Santa Monica, and I felt like I thought that was your dream. So I didn't want to ruin your dream, because it was like maybe once in a lifetime, to have everyone go.
I know. I guess, careful what you wish for, because it's super weird.
That's funny.
So I've been doing school. I've been really busy with these classes and homework and doing job interviews too. I'm like, the job interview scene is crazy, man. Cause like,
are these teaching jobs or,
no, tech jobs.
Back to do tech job. Really?
Yeah. So like I said this, I think I said this before, like I told my wife that, what's going to happen. I predicted what would happen. I said, I'm going to go back to school. I've been out of work for a while. I'm going to enroll in school, and then the job market's going to heat up, and I'll start getting like tech interviews and stuff, and I'll have to decide. But I'm not counting my chickens yet, but I went really deep in the process with this one company, and they had me, the interview situation, like the job seeker situation I've been in a job seekers market where everybody is just like trying to get you to work for them, right? Because like there aren't enough employees for the jobs, and so you can negotiate. You have your pick of jobs, kind of, right? It's the opposite right now. And I went really deep with this one company. They had me do the last stage. I think it was the 4th round. They had me do this. Sorry, I got something in my eye. They had me do this exercise. They sent a product exercise, a homework exercise, and it took me like 6 or 7 or 8 hours to do it. Like, it was a big thing. And it was like, it was like a business. They said, all right, they just gave like a general business objective. And they said, how would you, if you had if you were designing a 6-month initiative to do this, how would you do it? So it's like, we want a business case for like how you would do it. We want you to establish the business case. We want the strategy. We want a 6-month roadmap, and we want 6 to 10 user stories, like detailed specs for like features you'd build.
Wow.
Like, that's an exercise, just a homework exercise to get a job, which is like an absurd amount of work.
I mean, I'm a little bit worried that they're not just like taking the best one and running with it, like.
Well, that's exactly it. Like, it's kind of unethical, like because if you did that exercise as a company and you had people, do that for like a theoretical product or like a totally separate product that has nothing to do with their business, right? It's like, if you were designing an electric car, like, what would you do, right? Like, that's different, right? You get to see somebody's thinking, but they're having people do homework that is essentially work for their company. And anyway, I did all this work, and in the end, they passed on me. And one of their feedbacks was the stuff that I had proposed, like, too much of it was stuff that they're already planning to do. I was like, what?
That's a good sign, right?
That seems like a good thing, but it's like, that just means you're stealing people's work.
I was about to say, it tweaks my my suspicion even further, because it sounds like they wanted new, fresh ideas so they could steal, and they were like, "Well, you proposed what we're already doing." Like, that seems like you're the perfect match for them, since you came up with what they're doing. I don't know.
That's what I would think. But anyway, so
interesting.
It seems borderline unethical to make people do free work for that much free work for your company.
Yeah.
and it bothered me.
But the one that I used to pick was because you had to pick one of the questions, and I always asked the person who was interviewing, can you think of a time when there was a conflict between another team member or another someone in the company, and it was not easily resolved? What did you do about it, and how did you proceed? Yeah. And it was kind of a trick question because like the psychopaths would sometimes like reveal that they undermined their boss and went above their head and stuff, and like we'd always be like, "Whoa, red flag!" Like,
yeah,
it was an interesting question because you would.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Totally.
Then his free kick, that was just a beautiful, perfectly executed free kick. That
was the red card for the broken ankle. Didn't he step on his ankle?
He stepped on the guy's ankle. It looked completely in it. I don't know if he broke it. I mean, he rolled the guy's ankle. But
it went so far though, and it was like kind of high above the ankle where those bones are really thin.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but nasty. It looked inadvertent. It looked.
Oh yeah, no,
but
he
I
came
guess
down
they
on it.
expect you to It's sort of like they expect you to be actively careful not to do that stuff. And so even if you do it inadvertently, it's still considered it should have been a yellow card, I think.
I think so too. Did you see there was Croatia? I was heartbroken because they actually scored. And tell me do you understand soccer and offsides? Because I don't.
I've had to look up the offsides rule so many times. I mean, it has to do with the attacker getting too far ahead of the defense before the ball is kicked, or to the there's the moment that the ball is kicked. The moment that your teammate makes contact is the moment that they look at to see where the other person was at that moment.
Which
if somebody
we can't really see both at the same time.
If somebody's defined behind the defense at the moment their teammate kicks the ball, contacts the ball, then it's offsides or something. I think it's the dumbest fucking rule.
It does seem very hard to because you imagine there's a guy who's looking at the line. He's following the people. So he can look down the line and see who's, he has a laser thing. Then you've got the person who kicks the ball. How does the guy who looks at the line know when the ball was kicked if it's way down the field?
That's why they end up reviewing it all the time. It's the dumbest rule, I think. It's sort of if your attacker gets behind the defense during active play, when you're in the attacking end of the field, it just should be up to the defense to defend against that.
Yeah. So in this case,
I get it on a free kick or something. If on a free kick, or a corner or something, if your people are running.
Standing next to the goalie, trying to push him out of the way.
I could see how it's maybe you govern. I just during active play, it makes no sense to me to have that rule. It's just
So let me explain this. The heartbreaking goal. So they literally it was 2-1. First of all, Croatia was ahead 1-0 against Portugal. Very exciting. And then Portugal scored when Ronaldo got a penalty kick. He got a penalty kick, and it was perfect. He faked, and then he put it right in the middle, and the guy dove, So then, so here's what happened. So this guy, he runs up. He's clearly offsides, and the ball comes to him right in front of the goal, but he's facing away from the goal.
Yeah.
And there's an opponent coming toward him, and right behind the opponent is one of his players. He tries to pass it to his player so his player can score, because he's kind of in a weird position.
Yeah.
Facing the wrong way. And it basically, actually, no, he doesn't, it just bounces off of his stomach. And then the opposing player kicks it into his own goal by accident because he's just sprinting too hard. And they said that was offsides. And I was like, that doesn't seem, it seems like weird. If you score on yourself, it's fucking not offsides. You're the one who scored. So fuck, you know what I mean? And by the time he pushed it in, he was I really
don't like the offsides rule.
It's dumb. Maybe there's a technicality I don't understand, but they took away the goal and they were like, hey, you don't have it,
Yeah. And they took away a U.S. goal too in the first goal when they were down one player, and they scored another one anyway. But yeah, it's just a weird rule to me. What's interesting? I'd love to see a stat on this, but it's interesting to me how many goals seem to be scored in the very early part of the match, within the first 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then how many are scored in at the very end in extra time.
Yeah, it's true.
It's amazing how many goals. I've been watching these matches, and it's like the Brazil-Japan was a really good one, right? And then the Brazil scored their game-winning goal like in extra time.
Yep.
And then it just happened again yesterday with one of the matches, like one of the team, and then a day before it happened. It's amazing how many goals are scored right at the very, very last, final seconds, and how many are scored right at the beginning, and then there's this long stalemate in the middle.
I wonder. So one thing I've noticed is like you imagine that during the first half you're trying to figure out the other team and what their strengths and weaknesses are, and like what you brought strategically that's not working.
Like what adjustments you're going to make,
right?
Or whatever.
And then at the half, you've got the coach. If he's brilliant, he figures out a way to deal with what they brought. So sometimes right at the half, it gets very boring because they are defending too well, both sides. And then but I wonder why, maybe there's a surge of adrenaline because the clock is coming down and you think, I only have this last thing, so that people try really hard or something. Because it's true that there's a lot of goals scored right at the last minute. Yeah,
it's very interesting. Like you'd think like it would go into extra time. I mean, like when I say extra time, I mean like the injury time, not even like the tiebreaker time,
right?
Where they add extra minutes. Like it's amazing how many don't even need that tiebreaker time. They're just
yeah.
That's anyway, because I haven't seen that many matches go to penalty kicks, right? Like I don't know if any have, right?
There was one last week that did, and it was
okay.
It was
it was. That's right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I forget who it was.
Yeah.
But so this is how my wife has gotten so into it. Like because she only does this for the World Cup and Copa America. So every 2 years, she doesn't pay attention at all the rest of the time. So I should
be wearing my Colombia. I have my Colombia kit that I bought in Colombia.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Wear your Colombia kit. So she this box came. She'd been ordering these facial creams and stuff, and they'd come in the Amazon boxes. And I picked one up, and it was making this kind of like, it sounded like a bunch of broken glass. And I was like, oh, what a shame. Like all of those, expensive bottles of cream broke. And I opened it and it was like 20 cowbells. Because she's hosting, she has a 35 reservation for 35 at this bar called The Playground. Okay. And she wants to hand out cowbells to everyone. And I just laughed. She got home and she's like, what do you think of my cowbells? And I was like, ding, 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 ding. It's so cute.
I love it. It's super cute.
Oh, man. So, and I will say I'm drinking too much beer because every time I go to a sports bar, we don't to a sports bar to watch, I drink beer. And then it's like, oh, shit, another. Like it just, it's too easy to drink beer while you're watching the game.
Totally. I've been craving beer, and then I've noticed that if I drink more than one beer, like it messes up my sleep, and I get dehydrated all night. And,
you can really.
I just like my body just doesn't handle alcohol like it used to. I know that's a cliche, but I wish. Anyway,
but so let's see what we were going to talk about. So basically that your experience of being alone, and then you realize very quickly, like, oh shoot, I miss everyone. I don't need the 3 months being alone.
No,
I had that in Santa Monica where I was there for I think maybe 10 days. It was 10 days. Anyway, by the way, I wanted to help my daughter, and so I moved all of her stuff down with the U-Haul to San Diego, and then I went back and I went to Home Depot, and every single like pinhole, like thumbtack hole, I filled it and painted over it. I got them to match the paint. It was perfectly glossy white paint. So I'm like OCD, like I did 4 coats over this one area that was fucked up, and maybe 5 coats, and took photos of all the rooms. And the landlord said, it's the end of the month, so the landlord says to my daughter, I'm keeping $2,300 of your deposit because I'm forced to repaint the apartment.
What?
And she did that to the previous tenant, and the previous tenant, who was my daughter's friend, who was also a medical student, she just wrote to her and used like an ordinance of like landlords are not allowed to abuse the what is that called? The reserve part?
Security deposit.
The security deposit for, illegally, fraudulently, like they're not allowed to just take it. So then the woman paid her. So we're going to see what happens, but it seems like that's her pattern. And then last night, my wife and I were just furious because she did, it's so mean. And this is like not a very nice building. It's like 1940s. It's super.
It's just typical landlord shit, trying to like get money, right?
For
like,
$2,300 to repaint this.
It's predatory.
Yeah. And it's absolutely like perfectly
Yeah.
clean, painted perfectly. I cleaned everything, single thing.
Right.
So anyway, so I started to brainstorm.
There should be like a requirement for landlords to document pictures.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
we're going to ask
and
her-
then compare it to your own pictures, like to do like a two-sided bilateral protection, right? Like both of you document.
We're going to let her play out, with my daughter threatening her with this ordinance, and then we're going to go and start making, and I just was brainstorming like really mean things to do that would scare her. Like I said, because of the previous medical, you're taking advantage of poor medical students who are serving the Santa Monica community, like during their time there.
Yeah.
And they're forced to take out a year
Tell them
lease.
that you're going to contact the media.
No, totally. I said, I've already taken out the domain landlords to avoid in santamonica.com. And I'm going to make a case study and I'm going to show that you have demonstrated a pattern of fraudulent behavior, which demonstrates that's a conspiracy to commit fraud against medical students who are serving the community of Santa Monica. And I just wanted to use these like words that like, because conspiracy is way worse than just like one-time incident. If you've demonstrated a pattern of criminal behavior, oof. So I started to like think of ways to write like a really mean, scary letter, and I would document it. But we'll see what happens. It's fun to play around like that.
I got to do a better job of like, I feel like as we get to our Thursday or Friday, like our recording day, like through the week, I'm always like, oh, I got to write this down. This would be like the thing to chat about. Oh, that, like, and then I always think, oh, I'll remember it. And I never do. Like I always have all these things that would be good to talk about. Because sometimes, like we usually weave our way to something interesting, but sometimes it takes a bit.
Yeah, totally. And in this case, one thing I'm trying to avoid doing is to talk about politics, because I think it's too easy to talk about like the latest things that are happening. I'm working for the Pima County Democratic Party on a really fun campaign. It's not like we're just saying like, have you had enough? And then we have a bunch of topics. So we're interviewing people and say like, I'm sick of high gas prices. I'm sick of, if I'm a MAGA, like I was promised Jeffrey Epstein, I was promised whatever, like you've had enough of, right? Just to kind of gather together, because Arizona is filled with independents. Like it's like 43% independents. And then like then the other two parties, the Republicans have more. So we're like the biggest real swing state. People, I guess they're like cowboys and they're just like, I'm not going to fucking sign up for some party, Yeah. So they just really want to be like, I'm independent. I'll vote for who I vote for, I am going on the 11th I just decided to look up the chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America. Because I often will say
that's the most interesting thing happening in politics right now is the sort of the fight between first of all the sort of ascendance of the DSA and the response of the centrist sort of like establishment Democratic Party. It's the most interesting and drama that's happening in politics right now.
And I'm so glad. And it was like if you go back to Bernie and Hillary. When Bernie got shoved out and we got the email dump afterwards and we learned that it was like a conspiracy to sort of get his voice out of there. And it felt like Biden actually became far
that was
more
radical. That was part of what radicalized my two brothers against the Democrats.
Yeah, they were Bernie bros.
And I think they're not alone. Yeah. There's like this weird Bernie to far right sort of like pipeline that happened partly through that, right?
Yeah.
Like a bunch of people.
Even like Joe Rogan
went
falls
weird
into that camp,
alt-right. For
he
sure.
Was super Bernie.
He's a perfect example of like Bernie bro to alt-right.
Yeah. It's really interesting. But so I thought I'd go to this meeting. Who knows? It's right down the street. And I thought I'd go because like I've been doing work in the Pima Democratic Party and I feel like I'm seeing this really interesting, as you say, like locally versus like New York versus, East Coast. Even in this time it was in Colorado. This really young woman usurped 30-year veteran. And she was a fairly progressive.
15 terms or whatever. She was progressive. But not, like, I guess if you've served 15 terms, like it's fair for people to question like, whether you've gotten anything done, right? Like, and I don't know. She seemed like a pretty decent incumbent that maybe in a perfect world you could just swap her out from swap her in for somebody in like fucking Florida or something. Who knows? But
totally. So one thing that did come up for me is the woman that won in Denver.
Yeah.
She's like 31 or something.
Kiros, yeah.
You know her. Okay. So the one thing is like I'm just hearing like, third party. The one thing that sort of stance that I just can't abide by is she said something like Israel doesn't have the right to exist. And maybe it's being taken out of context.
The context is interesting because like usually the context for that statement is no country has a right to exist. Like the people of a place decide what, like they exist and they have a right to exist. And if they form a country, like that's up to the people. Like that's usually the context. It's like the idea of a country. Nobody talks about other countries in that language. Like Israel's the only country that anybody uses that phrase for, which is weird, right? Like nobody says like Canada has a right to exist, right? Like it's just not a thing. So it's usually the context. There was a woman, Francesca Albanese. I don't remember her name, but she has. She was the first one to kind of like make a really eloquent kind of challenge to that statement, and it was, if you look at the full context, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And so she's probably referencing that context. Like
I'll go back and research it, but that's sort of partly why I wanted to go to the meeting was because I think, if I associate, like I'll watch or listen to what Mamdani says and I'll think, I really am a democratic socialist. Like, and whenever anyone here says, people will say like, oh, the socialist, well, if we go socialist, we're going to end up like Venezuela. I'll be like, why not fucking Copenhagen? Why not Denmark?
Yeah.
That's what I want is Denmark, and I get all feisty
and I
about
think
it.
that's really like I hear, in all this opposition to the DSA, it's like from the center Democrats, like they're not making actual arguments. It's just like these people are crazy or whatever. It's like,
we'll never get elected.
What specific thing about the platform, like, do you disagree with? Like, that's where the debate should happen, right? Like, because because like Medicare was called socialist back in the day, right? Like, that's socialism.
It is socialism.
It is socialism.
And so is
Social Security is socialism.
Yeah, and so are our streets, and so like all the common good things are socialist. I mean, that's just
I kind of reject the whole like binary, like you have capitalism or Democrat or socialism, right? Like the binary, the way it's sort of framed as a binary, I totally reject that. Like, for one thing, you can't it's just not realistic that it would ever happen. None of these DSA candidates want to or could replace quote unquote capitalism with quote unquote socialism. Like that's not on the table. So we already have, it's a matter of degrees, right? Like there's degrees of capitalism. And when you take capitalism to an extreme where you apply the principles of capitalism to every aspect of existence, that's kind of like the dystopia that we have now, right? So, it seems it's totally reasonable to say, like, we need to dial that down, right? Like capitalism has extended too far and too extreme and into this sort of like late capitalist monopoly consolidation, predatory thing, dystopia. And so you dial it back and you sort of dial socialism up. Like these are things that happen in degrees. It's not like this binary.
And I would add in this idea, like when you're talking about like capitalism versus socialism, we use the term free market.
Yeah.
And the idea is that you'll get the most efficiencies and the prices will be pushed down because there's competition. There are so many instances. We've gotten to a place where there's collusion and people buy, like I was reading about Adobe, about how they became this monopoly in the creative world. And they're having a really hard time right now because they're being attacked by
challenged.
like DaVinci Resolve and Canva and these other
and Figma and all these
people
things,
are like, hey, I've been paying $30,000 for my career, to license the monthly pay. So anyway, that's an interesting story, by the way. That the story of Adobe introducing they started where they, and I know that full disclosure, there's someone in your family that works for Adobe. But but they started this thing where they made you sign the terms of agreement, where they could like basically mine your work for their AI bot. And there was to use the program, you had to accept it.
You couldn't opt out of it. Yeah.
So there was such a huge backlash, they had to back off of that. But that's where it started. People started looking for other ways because they felt like, they're too big and they're too powerful. So we're going to. But anyway, back to the antitrust. Like back in the 1870s, that's when we first had to pass antitrust laws against the oil barons. Yeah. Like Rockefeller and those guys, because they were buying up little individual producers and putting them out. So there was no competition. They could raise the price as high as they wanted. Right. So I feel like we've gone through this before.
I think we've gone through it multiple times. Even in the 90s, there was sort of like breaking up the Microsoft sort of lawsuits, right? Like
the baby bells.
Even fairly recently, there was like this sort of, and then during Obama, when we had what's her name, Lena Khan, she was very aggressive about like sort of her anti-monopolist kind of stance.
I have a political crush on Lena Khan, man. She's so cool.
Totally. So I think like it's something that fluctuates, and we're definitely on the everything consolidating side of it right now. And I think there's where the pendulum is starting to swing back again to like, this is bad.
But that's the key thing, is that capitalism, as we've talked about before, devolves into this feudalistic thing where the free market is eroded until there's just 5 companies contrling the price of beef.
And I would argue that that's not even capitalism anymore.
Yeah, I say it's fascism.
I mean, I think that I heard somebody say this. I thought this was really well put. And here we are talking about politics a little bit again. But I heard somebody, it was on Pablo Torre's podcast anyway, and they were talking about how the people who are hurting they were talking about like the rise of these DSA candidates and how like they're attacking capitalism or whatever. And somebody on that podcast said, no, you know who's attacking capitalism? It's these guys that are like hoarding all the wealth and like monopolizing all the companies. Like they are the ones who are changing the system into something other than capitalism. Like it used to be, that's not like what they are creating, those rich guys, is not capitalism. And I thought that was like really well put. Like they are the people who are truly destroying capitalism. Yeah. Because the system they're creating is not capitalism. It's no longer capitalism.
Right.
So, it's interesting. And that's again why I hate this false binary, because it's like, it's not a binary thing. And what people are referring to as capitalism is very squishy and blurry, and people use that term to just say whatever, to sort of like imply whatever they want to imply, without like the definitions that people use in the discourse is not precise, right? So it's frustrating.
I was brainstorming with the Pima County Democratic chair on yesterday. And I said, hey, I heard this statement that America is the only country in the 48 countries of the World Cup that doesn't have some form of socialized medicine. And he said, he has like a pro version of Claude. So he's like, let's ask Claude. And actually it was spinning, and it was taking a really long time to come up with an answer. And I said, and you just killed 2 birds in Marana. Because we have a data center in Marana. That's my dark joke. It's like that answer just killed 2 birds in Marana. I don't really know how. But,
that's funny.
Windmill cancer, maybe. Yeah. But so then, so he said, we looked, and it basically said, you're pretty much right. Although America, we have like the VA, there's Medicare. In a lot of states, there's Medicaid. If you're poor enough, you get really nice free healthcare. I've had a friend who was poor enough that he had like a stent put in his heart, and it was 0. Like he walked out of the hospital, And I was like, shit, man. So anyway, so we do have this weird mishmash. If you're a working person who makes below a certain amount, you're fucked. Because you can't afford it, and if you're going to go bankrupt if you get it broken, So then it says it's true that every other country, including like Iran, has some form of socialized medicine for all, except for, I think, Congo, one other country, and then South Africa, it said, is more like us, where like some people have it and some don't. Like depends who has, you know. So it's true that like of the 48 nations, four
Almost all of them.
are the ones that don't have it, and of the 10 industrialized nations, they all have it except for us. They have a nice version except for us.
We have really nice aircraft carriers.
It's true. Which, by the way, the other thing about that is the Ukrainians and the Iranians are proving that the expensive shit that we spend our money on,
it doesn't matter
anymore.
Yeah, it's not great to have. It's not a flex to have great aircraft carriers.
We
anymore.
need to rethink what we spend that fucking $1 trillion a year on, because it's fucking not the right stuff, you know?
Right.
Anyway, so that's good. So back to, I'm going to this Democratic Socialist of America meeting. I'm curious. It's possible, you know, I'll find my people. It's possible I'll feel like I don't fit in. I don't know.
I'll find you that quote about the not Israel not having a right to exist, because people are taking that and misapplying it to this idea that Israel should not exist, and that's not what it means. The context is the context is no country just has like an implicit right to exist. Like people decide whether they are a country or not. Like that's kind of people have a right to exist. That's kind of the context. And like a country is not a thing that just implicitly has a right to exist. That's usually the context. It's not that Israel should be sort of dissolved. That's not what it means.
Interesting.
And so, like, if you're hearing it framed that way, I think it's being deceptively framed.
The other thing that feels like this heavy lift, that's like the elephant that's sitting on all of us in the room, is the argument where the side that people are conflating Judaism, Jewish ethnicity with the country of Israel and the Netanyahu administration's decisions. Like those things are so vastly different and not
absolutely like the idea that you can't be anti-Israel or anti-Israel's government or anti-Israeli policy without being anti-Semitic is
it's ridiculous. It's
and it's being intentionally conflated by Zionists,
right?
Which in a way I think like you could argue that conflation itself is causing anti-Semitism, right? Like they're intentionally putting those two ideas together.
Exactly. They're trying to conflate them.
They're kind of creating the conditions for anti-Semitism or some amount of anti-Semitism.
Because it's easy to hold up the straw man of anti-Semitism and then claim that anything I do against Gaza, that's genocide. Yeah. If you complain about it, you're anti-Semitic. And that's just an easy straw man to throw at us,
Right.
Or to burn. It's
exhausting.
It's exhausting. I do like that. Like, for instance, who's this guy in Michigan?
The thing is, the public isn't buying that shit, right? Like, there's sort of this Zionist faction that is pushing that and trying to tie those things together, but like, it's not working.
And I do like.
In fact,
this
is again why sides. I say that itself is causing more anti-Semitism. Like the people who are doing that are hurting Jews more than anyone else, I think.
It's bizarre.
Like Israel itself is causing more anti-Semitism than anything.
Oh, for sure. Like they've destroyed the safety of Jews around the planet who are traveling just because.
And they're the ones actively conflating those two concepts. Like,
right. Yeah. On purpose.
More than anybody else. So
but this is one of those examples where like the far, far left Democratic Socialists and far right Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson are both saying AIPAC is evil. Mossad is way too powerful. You know what I mean? And it's like weird to have it coming from way far on both sides.
I'm a little leery of like the rationale that's driving, like what's driving the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Tucker Carlsons is, I think, and like it drifts too far into the Nick Fuentes like true anti-Semitism.
Right, like lasers from space are causing California wildfire. So
sometimes they're saying things that are the right things, but I think it's dangerous. Like that.
And these are people who said Jewish lasers are causing the forest fires in California. Space lasers.
So I think they are true anti-Semites, and they are, in some ways expressing sort of like the right side of these questions. Yeah, but like I think that's a whole other dangerous thing that I'm a little, and I don't know. I'm a little worried about what's happening there, actually.
I do. One thing I said, so we went to watch the England game, and our friend is British. So one thing she pointed out at the game, I said, oh, the Brits. And she goes, England. Because there was a Wales team, a Welsh team, there was a I don't know, there was a Scottish team, there was a Northern Ireland had a team that didn't make it, And she
that whole thing with like, what is Great Britain versus England versus the UK? Like that's all so confusing.
It was really funny to me because she goes, the Olympics, it's British, but the Royal Cup, it's England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, And I was like, oh, it's so confusing, right?
It's very confusing.
And King Charles is the Prince of Wales. Like it's so confusing.
It's super confusing.
But wait, so anyway, so we were talking about that, and what was I going to say? Oh shoot, I totally forgot what I was going to say. But she won.
Sorry.
What we were just talking about. We were talking about Israel, the right wing thing. Oh, that's so weird. That's been happening to me a lot lately, and I wonder.
I'm sorry, I messed you up.
No. I just wonder because it's like I'll walk into a room, and I'll go, I fucking don't remember why I came in this room.
No, that's a normal thing. And then you have to go back where you came from
to figure
out like why did I go to the garage? Yeah. Oh yeah, I was going to but you have to go all the way back to the kitchen to remember why you went to the garage. That's
this really annoying thing where when I go outside, I have shoes outside the back door and I have to put on the sneakers, which when you're working out, your back kind of hurts and you're leaning down and it's just kind of uncomfortable.
We're old now.
So I go in to get something. Like I think I say I need rubbing alcohol and the blower, the can of air.
Yeah.
So I go take off the shoes. I go inside. I get the rubbing alcohol. I walk back outside, put on the shoes, and I'm like, fuck. I didn't get the can of air. Like, what the? And I had to take the shoes off again, and I'm like, damn it, it's so annoying.
I want to say something about England fans. Like, we're at an hour now, and we probably should call it. But like we were talking a couple weeks ago about like how American fans don't do like the songs and the spontaneous songs. Yep. So I saw a clip the other day, and a bunch of England fans were at a baseball game. And I love that somebody was like, I love that the World Cup fans are doing side quests.
Totally.
But so there was this clip of a bunch of England fans at an Atlanta Braves game. I don't remember where. I think it was Atlanta Braves playing the Red Sox in Boston. I'm not sure. I can't swear to that. But anyway, so there's a center fielder on the Braves named Michael Harris. And so the England fans came up with a whole song about like Michael Harris, like just like they do with soccer players.
Oh, that's cool.
They were singing they like spontaneously, this whole group of fans spontaneously burst into song, and it was like living in a Harris Wonderland or something like that. Like they were like walking in a winter wonderland. It was to that
awesome.
tune.
Yeah, that's
and then Michael Harris was like he had a ball like during the warm-ups or whatever. He threw it to them in the stands, and it just was like shit. Like even the England fans come to a baseball game and they're already making it better with like the singing and just like they do for soccer players. And I just think like, why doesn't that happen here? It's very weird.
I totally remember what my British, English. So I went up to my British friend who was watching the England play. Yeah. And I said, Sabine, I really, I have to admit that I'm very jealous of one thing that the British government has we don't have. If the prime minister's popularity falls below a certain amount, they can call.
Yeah.
What's that called? They can basically call
a
vote of no confidence. Vote of no confidence. And I was like, our president is probably the lowest any president has ever been in 100 years.
Yeah.
If we were in England, we would fucking call a vote of no confidence, and his party would have to put someone else up if they could, or maybe the other party would get their choice, right?
You would think. But the Republican Party could go against Trump anytime. Like they never,
true.
Like the Congress, the Republican Congress here could be, they could oppose Trump at any moment for the last bunch of years, and they just have never done it.
And that's true. She did point out that his own party asked him to step down.
Yeah.
So Nigel Farage.
You are right that the parliamentary system is different. It is like by nature like this cluster of coalitions that form, right? Like you have groups that form a coalition that agree to have this prime minister, right? Like none of those individual parts of that coalition is dominant enough. It's not a two-party system. So you don't have this like, I mean, it is and it isn't, right? Like you have the two major parties, but they're not powerful enough, and they're not parties in the same way that we have two parties here. They have Labor and
The conservatives, labor.
Conservatives and labor, yeah.
But like, for instance, I was always jealous that Germany's parliament, they had like 3 Green Party seats.
Yeah. It's just like that parliamentary system works better.
That. Yeah.
Because you have to form a coalition in order to govern. Like none of those groups is powerful enough in its own right. Whereas here the coalitions are formed into the 2 parties before.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Like there are multiple factions, but they have to before they're in power, they have to form a coalition to be elected. Whereas in the parliamentary system, you can get elected to your seat and then you're forming the government through coalition.
Do you know what Lisa Murkowski said recently, last week? She said, because Trump is really attacking her.
Yeah.
And she said, if Mary Patola wins, she said, that would be a signal from the population of Alaska that they like the Democratic platform better. And I will start, caucusing with the Democrats.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
You don't have to, you don't have to.
She's been looking for her exit door for a while. And she's just like another one of these chicken shit Republicans that finds her spine only as she's, like Cassidy, like they all find their spine once they're out of power. She's sort of like that, but totally. She's still there.
But I just thought that was really interesting that to your point that like that person can choose which, and there's only caucusing but 2 parties in the, it seems not fair in a way, but like we would joke that Sinema,
like what's his name? The guy from West Virginia, he used to caucus with the Republicans.
Joe
Manchin sometimes,
and Sinema threatened to at one point. Remember when she's done. Thankfully, she's gone. So sad.
Anyway, we should probably call it. Like we're drifting too far into the politics, but
it was fun though. I'm glad we got to talk about the Democratic Socialists. Great to talk to you. Satellite Haiku.
All right,
chill.
Satellites? A satellite represents a journey, information gathering, this journey around the Earth.